business, and it's in that order. And those things, they're not just words that we write on the training center walls. Like, although it's important that they're there, those are actual things that live and breathe within each of us. And I think that's why Keller Williams tends to thrive during crisis. Like, when you look up and you realize that you guys are the first responders anytime there's a natural disaster, you're one of the first groups there with your big rig trucks. That you report to disasters even when they're in areas that you don't have market centers. I don't know if you all remember, but there was a giant flood in West Virginia in the Greenbrier Valley. Well, at that time, we didn't have a market center in the entire state of West Virginia. You got there so first that you actually coordinated for the West Virginia government a bunch of the way that they were drying out houses, because you all became such experts in Houston 4 years prior. Like, it's just who we are. It's why Red Day is an international phenomenon. It's why profit share is studied by other companies around the world as a cultural experience. It's because carrying the red and the white isn't something that every agent could do, which is why there's only 180,000 of us instead of 1.4 million of us.
Well, we've been on the receiving end of KW Cares, and lots of agents being, the Keller Williams New Orleans office, and what we got from Keller Williams back in Katrina was nothing short of remarkable. And there's a lot of people in this call that remember that outreach and remember that support, and are extremely grateful today. And last year, a lot of us were out gutting houses in Houston and doing that kind of, and going around and doing whatever we can. So we've felt that cultural moment, firsthand, and it's different when it's being done for you instead of you doing it for others.
I think it shows, right? Like, I think you look up and you realize that, like, every NFL team has the same 400 plays in their playbook. And then you say, well, why can Drew Brees score on anyone who wants, whenever he wants? And you look up and it's because it isn't the plays that you run, it's how you run them. And culture is one of those plays that even in a copycat league can't be duplicated.
Agreed. What is, you're a top producer, you've been a team leader, you see a lot what other companies are doing, what the best in Keller Williams are doing. What is the one habit or activity you see people doing right now to allow them to thrive during this pandemic?
It's a big question, and so if it's okay, I'll answer it maybe in a couple of parts. I think number one, if you're following Gary's advice, then you immediately cut your expenses, and you do that in order to survive. Then you lead generate in order to thrive. So I think it's in that order. And so I would urge you, make a list of all of your home expenses, make a list of all of your business expenses, then drop them into one of three buckets. I absolutely need it, I really prefer to keep it, and I just don't need it. And the only reason I have it is because I've been living in the greatest recovery of all time. Then cut bucket number 3 immediately. You don't need that stuff. Then start cutting bucket number 2 and ask the focusing question. Am I getting the most out of the things that I'm paying for? And if you're not, dump them. And then keep the stuff in bucket 1. And you're doing that not because you can't afford your bills. That's not why you do it. You're doing it because there are expenses, which are things that you pay to maintain continuity and quality of life and business. And then there are investments. And those are the things that you want at least a 4x return on. And you cut your expenses so that you can make more investments. And that's what you got to do, because on the back end of this recession, there's going to be, and there always is, a ton of investment opportunity. And you're starting to see that already. You ask yourself, if you have kids at home or you have grandkids that are 6 and 7, ask yourself, what companies are those kids going to love when they're 17? By the way, you can buy those companies today at 50 to 60% off in the stock market. Like, ask yourself, where is the greatest return on investment? And it's always in hiring a person. Consider you got 27 million Americans out of work this week that weren't out of work 4 weeks ago. There's a lot of wonderful people in there that might be the leverage point for your life. There's going to be investment in real estate. There's going to be investment in apartments. And you can only invest. Here's the thing. Investing is a privilege, not a right. And in order to enjoy the privilege, you have to save more of your money. And so a person looks up and they say, oh my gosh, I have $1 that I can spend. And an investor looks up and says, I have 20 cents that I can spend and 80 cents to invest. Gary Keller says that to me ad nauseum. And so I'm begging you guys, you're cutting the expenses in order to invest. And then the other thing I think that you need to be doing, you said the one thing, but there's a couple one things right now. If you're defining yourself as a leader, then you better be leading. And I think that means, and by the way, You might be leading a family right now through this, or you might be leading a team through this, or you might be leading in a different business. Step one, you have to set a new vision. Your 5-year vision might still be good. Heck, your 1-year vision might still be good, but you better set a 90-day vision, because everything is wonky right now. What's the 90-day vision for this business, Jeff? What's the 90-day vision for this family? And then you better meet with everyone and get some buy-in. And then you better meet with everyone again individually and then start assigning some new tasks, because there's no way we can have a new vision without some new chores. And then I think you got to do a new 30, 60, 90 for every person in your world. That's not just new hires, that's anyone. And 30, 60, 90 is a scary way of saying big rocks. Like, what are the 20%? And what matters most? What's going to get done in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? What are the big rocks? And then I think we have to track them. And that's what I think you got to be doing.
Well, it's funny you talk about a new 90-day plan. We're working on a new 30, 60, 90-day plan for the Market Center as we speak. In fact, my MAPS coach says it's due 4 o'clock on Friday. To get really specific, but talk about how Bold Pivot maybe can come into helping that play a role for our associates and bring that to life. Not everyone's able to have a mastery coach. How can Bold Pivot potentially help us figure that out and what our next 90 days should look like?
Yeah, I don't do a great job of selling stuff, so I'm gonna say it, but no one get me in trouble. Like, everyone promise you won't email Monica. Like, here's the thing, like, success leaves clues, and here's what we know. We know that everyone that takes Bold makes more money. It's just a mathematical certainty. And then you say, well, how can that be? Why is that? What's the magic thing? Bold puts you in a group environment to make the touches and do the things that are really difficult to do without a group of support. I mean, that's just what it is. The focusing question is, how do you get yourself to do something you wouldn't normally do? And you look up and you just realize that it's this amazing cultural 7-week period. And then you look up and you realize, well, wait a minute, it's also 70% off. And I don't know, like, if you want to look at an investment, how about a $99 one that results in 1 extra sale, and then you do the math on what the rate of return is? Because here's the thing, the gift of this shift, and it's hard to say there's a gift anytime people are suffering. There's a lot of people that are suffering. But if there was a gift, it would be that the 3-ring circus of your life is slowing down. Not by choice, but by mandate. And you get to fill that time with something. And you're either going to fill it with more binge TV watching, no judgment. You might fill it with more time with your kids, no judgment. You may fill it with more time on the golf course, no judgment. Or you may choose to fill it with activity-generated ideas that make you richer. No judgment. No judgment, just opportunity. And you all get to pick which opportunities you take.
On opportunity, let's pivot into technology. Why is Command a no-brainer for any agent in our ecosystem right now?
I don't know that it is, to be honest with you.
Meaning,
technology is going to come at the expense of humanity. I would say never log into our system again. Make me a promise today that you won't. Meaning, if you're going to go hide in a room and you're going to send emails and you're going to hope that you can make more money, you get to help more people, I don't think it works. I think that the greatest rendition of a realtor is when the technology meets the humanity. This is to say that Command was designed to magnify your superpowers. Here's the fundamental truth. People do business with people they like. Period. That's just what I believe. And if we disagree on that, y'all, we're never going to get any further, because I can't be moved off of that point. It's an immovable thing for me. And so what I say is, how can we then make technology allow us to be more human more often and be liked by more people? If you agree with that premise, then yeah, Command is an absolute no-brainer. And then you say, well, why? How so? Well, number one, it brings you closer to your people by providing hyper-local real estate information. Like, said differently, when people learn about real estate from you, they move closer to you emotionally. That's the monthly neighborhood nurture, or the 2-time-a-month neighborhood nurture. There's smart plans. We have all these words that sound scary, so let me just break it down. Smart plan means you don't do it, but it gets done. Neighborhood nurture means hyper-local real estate information, making the consumer smarter. These are not weird ideas. Matter of fact, there's no room for debate. Like, anyone that wants to stand up and say to me, my consumer is better off not knowing what's going on in the marketplace. Like, I'd like to have that conversation with one of y'all on stage. We can do that. That would actually be instructive. The only question we have to answer is, do you use command as the vehicle to do it, or do you use a different one? And that's the real conversation. Other ones all seem to cost money. And what I'm telling you is, at a time like this, I think you need to look up at a technology that you've already built and pay for, and then ask, is there any segment of it that can make my life easier or make me richer? And if you ask that question, it actually leads to the bigger question, which is this the best thing for the consumer? And if you don't think like an app branded to you where they can search is good for the consumer, I don't know how to help. And if you don't think a way for them to be able to communicate with you easier isn't good for them, I'm stuck. If you don't think a way to control their environment when it comes to the transaction isn't in their best interest, then I don't know how to help. And so, yes, I believe every real estate agent should be in command. And no, I don't believe that command is going to take anybody who doesn't want to connect with people and make them more successful.
I think we could just end right now, mic drop, and that's that. But, well, since we got you, we are going to ask you about campaigns. We have a number of agents in this office that I'm incredibly proud to say have taken a deep dive into campaigns. Okay, and look, you've got a curve. You've always got some people that are struggling to find success, but we have a really good percentage that are finding great success, getting leads from anywhere to 40 cents to $2 that are actually converting into sales. And you know, what's the future of campaigns? Why don't you think it's an easier sell for people? You know, is it just an add-on I should be doing after I do my primary lead generating on my sphere every day? Where do you see campaigns fitting in an agent's day?
You know, I listened into Josh, who's so much smarter than I am and better at this than me, which you should have gotten him, but you ended up with the B team. But I heard it, and somebody asked him, they said, so, you know, what are the 3 best things in command? And he spit them out in this order. He said, Facebook campaigns, smart plans, get on the phone and call your database. He said that's his to-do list if he's an agent right now. And somebody actually said, you know, like, well, my business is sphere of influence. Like, shouldn't I start there? And here's the secret. Of course. Like, if you were planning on running a real estate business without a sphere of influence, spoiler alert, you're not going to make a lot of money. Like, and people don't like me, by the way. Half the room never does, and they say, well, because I'm too direct or I don't say it the right way. But like, here's the thing. Like, I don't want to waste any of your time. Like, real estate is knuckle to knuckle, belly to belly, period. It's a full contact sport that happens in people's homes. And the truth is, every great agent, their business is based on the foundation of their data bank. Past clients, sphere of influence, friend, family, or neighbor, that's what it is. The problem with that is those groups, for a lot of us, are just not big enough to make the amount of money we want to live and fund the life that we want. So then the question becomes simple. How do you get more people into your system? There's 3 answers. Number 1, you either go door knock. And I'm using door knocking as a bucket for everything, which is I'm calling strangers. You can circle prospect, you can door knock, you can stand in front of the grocery store and wave at everyone. You can put up signs on the expressway. Like, that's this bucket. Then you have bucket number 2, which is you inherit. And by the way, until inheritance becomes a duplicatable model, not many of us can do it. So like, no agent is just going to give you their business. There's a few of us that get that golden handoff. And then there's the 3rd way, which is aggregating people via pay per click. Meaning, I don't want to go stand on the street sign. I don't want to knock on doors. I don't want to make phone calls. I have no path to inheritance. What can I do? And the idea is that if you can't throw your time at something, and by the way, you can't throw your time at it, not because you don't have enough time. It's because you're choosing not to spend your time that way. Meaning, if you want to open the phone book and just dial, by the time you get to the E's, you're going to have a deal. I'm willing to bet my stake on it. That's how I started in the business 21 years ago. They literally gave you a phone book, and that's what they said. And that was the training program. We've come a long way. So if you don't want to do that, cool. The next best thing to do because of technology is to be aggregating pay-per-click leads. These are people that are looking for some form of communication about real estate, either in Facebook or Google. Those are our partners, which is, if you don't want to throw your time at it, you got to throw a little bit at your wallet at it. Said plainly, you're either leveraging your time or leveraging your money. Those are the choices. If you choose, by the way, to not leverage either, no judgment and no energy. By the way, without judgment and energy, you really very rarely get to movement. So like you have to have those things happening. And I'll tell you right now, we're trying to entice the people that have never done it before, like never before. If you go into campaigns and you've never ran one and you click on ads, you're going to have a pop-up coupon that says spend $75, get a $25 credit from us. Meaning we're giving an agent stimulus package. We want you to get a return on the 75 you're spending with 25 on top. Now, some of you are rolling your eyes because you're already in and you're saying, wait a minute, my reward for being an early adopter is not getting $25? Yes, that's actually part of our culture, which is we want to bring everyone along. We love the fact that you came there. Nobody gets left behind in this journey. And I would
and Jason, our office launched an agent stimulus package where, by the way, we're paying their KW bills. There's no monthly bill right now, no office bills, and for 2 months. And we're giving another $50 credit, which is the second time we've done it this year, so that they can run Facebook ads and Instagram ads and go in campaigns.
I love that. I mean, I wish every office would do that, but to be candid with you, there's very few that do, and I honor you for making that commitment. Now, talk about being all in it together. Like, that actually makes sense to me. Keep in mind, though, you guys, pay-per-click leads turning into sales is a mathematical certainty. There's no debate. It's not. Nobody can be like, it doesn't work. You might say you don't work, in which case I might say okay or maybe not, but we know it's a certainty. Here's the key to it. It's 3 parts. Number 1, decide who you want to be in business with. Meaning, are you looking for buyers? Are you looking for sellers? Are you looking for talent? You can run an ad. Any ad you place will get you a different response. It's just like planting seeds. If you close your eyes and throw a handful, who knows what you get? But you're more purposeful than that when you plant a garden. So what type of leads do I want? That's step 1. Step 2 is speed to lead, meaning that we respond quickly. I want to see you respond within 5 minutes. And by the way, I'd love to take you back to that old Nordstrom's analogy. If you've ever been to a shopping mall, walk through this with me. You walk into a Nordstrom's or whatever, and then someone comes up and says, can I help you? And then you all say no. You're just browsing, you say. Although you all know what you want, but you say you're browsing. Then the average American just browses for about 13 minutes before they either leave the store or need to get in the fitting room. Keep in mind, once they get in the fitting room, you guys, it's a short distance from there right to the cash register. The real estate business with pay-per-click lead is the same way. The pay-per-click, making the ad is akin to getting them to walk into your store, greeting them right when they walk in and asking, do you need any help? They're supposed to say no. I'm just browsing. Then it's not going to be a 13-minute wait. It's going to be about 16 months on average. Some people will do it that day. Others will do it in 7 years. The average is about 16 months that they're going to say, you know what? I'd like to get into this room to try on this house. And then you're going to open the door and walk them in. And then you're going to walk them to the title company. I mean, the cash register. And then we're going to sell them a house. And it's no different. And so here's what I would tell you. If step 1 is figuring out who you want to sell and what you want to generate, step 2 is speed to lead, meaning meet them at the front door and welcome them. Then they're going to say to you, I'm not interested. That means just browsing. Then step 3 is the key. It's following up over time with frequency and intensity. And here's the follow-up plan for y'all. This is the one that will get you the highest conversion of all. I promise. Number 1, it's a phone call once a month just to check in with them. By the way, they're not going to answer. Spoiler alert. If you call a stranger once a month, you're going to talk to someone 2 or 3 times a year. Don't worry about it. It's fine. And then number 2, it's hyper-local real estate information, either once a month or twice a month. You guys, we built those smart plans. That's the monthly neighborhood nurture, or it is the 2 times a month neighborhood nurture. Then you just set a task reminder to call them once a month. I promise you that you will have a conversion rate, and over any period of time, you can get really, really wealthy. That's it. Those are the steps.
So you're telling me all the money I've been investing and I don't get immediate hit for, I got 1 of them or 2 of them, and I'm thinking, oh man, this is really good return on investment, because our average price in New Orleans is about $350,000 and up.
You haven't even seen the return on investment. Here's the truth. Pay-per-click breaks into 2 categories, short tail and long tail. Short tail means the lot off. You ever go to the gas station, y'all, and you play the scratch off, and you buy 50 of them just because you're having that kind of day, and then you sit in the parking lot drinking a Slurpee. Am I the only one that does it? Scratching them off, and you hit. That's what you're describing, Jeffrey, which is I hit $7. Awesome. And by the way, when y'all hit, it's like $7,000 with your average sales price, if not 9 or 10.
Like 12.
Yeah. Talk about but here's the thing. This is all about the long tail. Here's the math on it. About 6% of everybody that you know, other than the homeless, are going to move homes every 7 to 10 years. So what this means is the mathematical certainty is that every time you buy a lead, if you follow up with that person with the plan that I just outlined with frequency and intensity for every 7 to 10 period, you're going to get 6 out of 100 who are going to buy a house from you. Said differently, your business is actually a math problem. And all you're trying to figure out is how many people that you're feeding into it on a daily basis, for how long you follow up with those people, and with what frequency and what intensity. And the solution is so easy, which is every month I'm going to get X number of people into my system due to pay-per-click. And then every month after that, until the end of time, each of those people is going to get a phone call and a piece of real estate information once a month. If you did that for any 7 to 10 year period, you would be in the top 1% of all of the agents in your marketplace, guaranteed. And here's what you're thinking, by the way, because I'm a sales guy. You're thinking, nope. I got the black hats in the room that are thinking, nope, not that easy. It really is that easy. Here's the thing that makes it hard, though. It's not a complicated system. The difficulty comes into having the discipline to run it for any 7 to 10 year period. Because
here's the other side that I'm concerned about. It's, one of the competition issues we're having in our marketplace right now is there's another brand that says, hey, we have a CRM. You just load your contacts in here. Hey, we do the Facebook marketing for you. We're going to do all that stuff for you. We're going to run your tech. And they're at a competitive split with us. And I can't complain. It sounds like a good deal because learning command sometimes is frustrating. So one day I got to go incognito or something and have a couple issues. Why is that a bad, why should I stick it out and keep running my tech when somebody else says they'll do it for free for the same price?
I don't know. I don't have a great answer for you. Suffice it to say that if you want a job, you should go to a company where someone does everything for you. Because let me just make it clear, if you ever leave there, you no longer have it. That's the definition of a job, actually. Like if you're interested in owning a business, then you need to be the one that curates your experience. And by the way, let's meet this thing head on. If you're having problems with command and there are parts of it that don't work for you, we have to ask 2 questions. Are they working the way they were designed? Are they broken? Both very, very fair. And I'll tell you what, this is the conversation we need to have because we roll some stuff out. It just plumb doesn't work. Like y'all just hate it. And you tell us. And then we go back and we try to rebuild it. But there's 2 types of pioneers. There's the ones that show up after the city is built and get a small piece of it. And then there's the ones that build the city. And they take it all. And I would urge you all to be pioneers because I think that there's a streak that runs through Keller Williams agents, which is a highly independent pioneering streak. And what do we know about pioneers? We know that the journeys are hard, and we know that sometimes they take arrows in the back. And the truth is, all of you guys have been lining up out front, and you've taken a lot of shots for KWRI, and you've carried a lot of water for KWRI, and we get it. But I want you to know the difference between customers and partners is that we didn't build something and tell you this is it. We built something and said, did we get it right? And on some of it, you said yes. And on others, you said hell no. And we heard you both times really clearly. And here's the promise I can make. You'll never hear Gary or Josh and I stand up and tell you that it's perfect. We're never going to stop trying to make it better. And anytime one of you don't get what you need out of it, we have failed. And here's the thing about failure. When you look around Facebook, you see a ton of people lecturing on failure, failing forward and failing this. Here's the deal. You shouldn't be allowed to talk about failure unless you've had some sort of success. Like that's the thing. At some point, you're asked to lead to success. Those are the people worth listening to. And And I would beg you all to bet on Gary Keller. I've been betting on him for 21 years. And we have failed at some things during that time, but we have always succeeded. And there's a reason, by the way. I was a team leader 18 years ago. I was the youngest in the history of the company at that time. And I was really good at recruiting, but I was terrible at everything else because I was 21. So like I would recruit you and then you'd come in and say, hey, I'd like to talk to you about my business and I'm having some problems at home. And I'd be like, well, I was up until 3 a.m. playing Madden last night. Would that help? Like I just couldn't do the full part of the job. And I used to say things like every agent should be a Keller Williams agent. And I'm not going to rest until it happens. And then I got older and I realized that that will never be the case. Because there's a lot of agents in your marketplace that could never carry the burden of the red and the white, meaning they wouldn't be able to have a God family business value system because it's hard. Like it's hard to actually live that. And we do things that other people think are weird. Like we do Red Day and we put people on stage that pray for us all. I was talking to Mo the day before yesterday. And she told me that God has his hand on my shoulder. And I've been calling everyone in our company whose family is sick or who lost somebody. And I'll tell you, if he didn't have his hand on my shoulder, I wouldn't be able to do it. And Mo told me that he did. And yeah, if someone can help you get easier pay-per-click leads at a different company, I think that's really cool. And a small part of
it. You have a great way of putting things in perspective, Jason, and we're, I'm fortunate that I get to be on the calls and see you on a weekly basis and see our other great leaders in this company on a weekly basis, and it's meant a lot, and it's given us a lot of energy to put back down into everybody else. And I think I've gotten so many great calls from our people saying, hey, where are you getting all this great stuff from? And it's R&D every time. Nothing's original. We're modeling what you guys are doing for us. So we thank you.
I'm stealing it all from Gary, by the way.
I'm sorry, say it again.
I'm taking all my lines from Gary. That's why the guy can't release a new book. It's because I get an advanced copy and then I just say them all.
I wasn't even going to push you about MREA2. I didn't even think that was appropriate.
It's coming out. 2041 shelf. No, I'm kidding. We're going to get it out. And he's writing. He has 3 writing days a week right now with the team. I saw a manuscript. It's real. And he's
writing right now?
Well, what day is it? No, wait. Well,
no, I mean, during this period, he is writing a book right now.
Yeah, feverishly writing multiple things right now. He's really writing. And here's the thing. It's hard to rewrite that book because when you build a book on universal truths, it's hard to do a follow-up, right? So it's more of an update because here's the thing. Anyone could go build an MREA business and become a millionaire today. And so what's the new book called? So there's some challenges there and he'll get it right. He's working on it really hard.
Well, Jason, I know it's 2:01 here and I want to be respectful of your time. Do you have a few more minutes or do you have to,
yeah, well, I did get here a minute late. Very few, if that's okay.
Okay. Did we have any questions? Anybody want to throw out a question to Jason? Throw it in the chat or unmute yourself real quick. Meanwhile, I want to ask you one quick thing. What is speed around here? Fastest way to save money in real estate right now and fastest way to make money in real estate right now?
Yeah, stop spending it immediately. Anybody here that doesn't think they're going to have a liquidity issue in May and June is an idiot. And so I'm begging you, please stop spending your money because every dollar you have today is going to be worth $6 to $9 as an investment. And every dollar you spend today is going to be more important because when you show less homes, you simply write less contracts. There's a certainty to this. And I know because I'm watching the numbers in your marketplace, y'all are showing less houses. So please, please, please spend less money. The best way to make money is in the absence of market share, I think you have to double down on capturing mind share. Meaning make sure every day you should judge how many people were sad at the beginning of the day that I make feel better or smile by the end of it. And I think that breaks into 2 buckets, right? Number one, did I give them information about real estate? Because I think people are scared right now and they think every recession means foreclosure, short sale, and bank-owned homes. That's not what this is. This is more like a natural disaster, which I don't have to lecture you guys on, but I think you have to remind people of that. Number two, just simply state of mind. You got to ask people, hello, how are you? Use the Adele script. That's it. Hello, how are you? Well, like, make sure people know you care. And then number three, I think that they have to know that you're human too. And this is the time to be transparent. That's the best way to make money, because on the other end of this thing, anyone that wanted to move prior to it still wants to move. It's think of it like this. You got this bow that's being drawn back, and there's all this energy in this bow, and the energy is all the people that wanted to move 4 weeks ago. Like, they still do. Now they want to move even more. They just spent a month in their home. Add to that, this is sad, but there's a lot of businesses that are going to lose. They're just not going to make it back from this. It won't matter how much money the government gives. It won't be. They're just going to go out of business. And those people are going to need to downsize and right size. And they're going to need to move. And they're in this bow. And then there's this other group, which is they're going to win. And they sell hand sanitizer. And they're going to get rich. And they're going to want to buy a pool and a bigger house. And they're in this bow. And then you guys know, because you know all about disasters, the divorce rate goes up on the back end of every one of them. You just have people that reorder their life. And you know what? They're in this bow. And then the birth rate goes up. You have a bunch of kids named Corona running, and they're in this bow. And at some point, this bow opens and it shoots forward with energy. And if you want to be the recipient of that energy, then you need to capture mind share now, because that equals market share tomorrow.
After we won the Super Bowl, there were a lot more kids named Brittany and Drew than there were Peyton.
I believe it. This I believe.
Well, Jason, thank you so much for your time. Incredibly grateful.
Sure. I saw they flashed.
We did. Top three books. I'm sorry, I didn't look at the chat.
Top three books. Well, if you're not reading Shift, then I don't know. I don't want to say it. Let me say it like this. If you want to make more money on the other side of this recession and you're not reading Shift, then you're an idiot. I hate saying that, but here's the thing. Like, this is a textbook written about how to make money during shifting markets. And this is the biggest shift that we've seen in 15 years. So, like, please read the textbook, because this thing is open book, this test. It's called Life. Please read it. If you're running a team, I think the book is The Advantage. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's The Advantage by Patrick Lencioni. That's Lencioni. I love it. Brian Gubernick, he's a brilliant real estate agent. He told me to read it. I love it. And then I think you need to feed your mind and feed your soul. I'm reading a book called The Untethered Soul. The Untethered Soul is by Michael Singer. I read it every 180 days. And it centers me, and I find some spirituality in it. And look, I'm always reading the Bible, so I guess that's the fourth one.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. I'll double check real quick one more time for any last questions. All right. I think we're good. Jason, thank you so much.
I want you all to know, on behalf of everyone at KRWI, just how grateful we are for each and every one of you and for your market center. What it really matters what y'all are doing. And I kind of think of Keller Williams like, this sounds a little corny, but I kind of think of it as like this big garden. And there are parts of it that I think are so beautiful. And then there are other parts of it that I see that I don't think are so pretty. And then there are different seasons where sometimes it's in full bloom and I love it, like on Red Day. And then there are other times when I look around and I don't really recognize it. And that's like any garden of this size. And then there's a few of us that get to tend to it on a national level. And it's a really short period of time we're here. Gary and Mo stay forever, and the rest of us sub in for a couple of years. And they'll find someone smarter than me and better than me at all this. And getting to do this and tend to this garden, it's the greatest honor of my life. And I just want you to know I'm so grateful for each of you to let me do it. So thank you for everything you guys are doing, and stay healthy and stay safe, and God bless.
God bless you, Jason. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for being on the call. We really appreciate your time, and I'm glad you trusted us to jump on, because I think we just heard some really, really awesome insights. And man, hang on, let me stop this.